weighing in on this matter, saying that load shedding costs the country's economy 17 million rand an hour. Stage 4 sees households and businesses without power for around 6 hours a day, as many are still trying to recover from the effects of COVID-19, including the impact of the July riots. Well, let's talk more about this issue. We're joined by the Black Management Forum President, Andile Nomlala. Andile, it looks like just when we think there is an opportunity for the economy to begin to recover, particularly on the part of small and medium enterprises that have been decimated under, this last 2 financial years, it doesn't seem to be the case.
Good evening, Kathy, and good evening to your listeners. And as you can see, I'm literally in the dark myself. I have a makeshift stand, and you can see I'm outside. If it was Cape Town, maybe the light would have been better. Kathy, let's deal with the issues. Eskom is a serious problem in the country, and I think this time around, and I have, and as the BMF, we have come to many of your interviews, and we have raised critical issues about the capacity at Eskom, both from the board to the chief executive. But I think this time around, Kathy, this problem has been persistent from at least 2018, the recent strife of these load sheddings. And I think that the time is not for us to shift the blame game. The businesses, particularly the small businesses that have been compromised by the COVID and compromised by the crisis that we had in July of violence and looting. And now we have stage 4 of load shedding. And if anyone now wants to shift blame, I don't think that would help. It's easy that as the BMF we make a call, an impassionate plea to President Cyril Ramaphosa himself now, as a chief executive officer of our country, to quickly, with speed, Kathy, bring in the necessary expertise and skills that would look at the situation from everywhere around the world and look at the situation to an extent that Eskom can at least know what is their current capacity and what is their bare minimum electricity that they can provide. And we analyze then how much of that electricity can be used sparingly for how many times whilst we are dealing with the other problems. Kathy, just before I come back to you, in 2019, I sat in a committee that was at Busa with the business leaders around the country. We crafted a submission to the president around the criticalness of sorting out the Eskom problem. We can never move from the economy forward without Eskom. And we submitted that document 2.5 years ago. Today, we haven't yet seen, let alone the fact that Eskom would call random press conferences. But even in those press conferences, there is no clear line of what is going to be done to deal with the problem. Our economy is being disseminated, Kathy.
Andile, Eskom has for some time now been identified as the single biggest threat to the sovereign. And they've continuously said that the challenges they face will be with them and therefore with South Africans for a number of years. Do you think that it has not necessarily been taken seriously enough, that the understanding, the full-scale understanding of what that means has not really been taken under due consideration and therefore had the appropriate plans put in place?
Certainly, Kathy, I'm with you there. I mean, Kathy, if you were to look, Eskom has advertised recently, as yesterday, the board composition of the transmission company. In that requirements, they are asking for people with expertise and who have been in companies that are turning over 50 billion rands. And that is a subsidiary of Eskom. The current board of Eskom, you don't have people that have been directors of companies that are turning over 50 billion. So it was, and I can also confirm, Kathy, that the mining sector had commissioned a report that looked at the skill set in the Eskom business. And I said this in June, that report was submitted both to the Minister of Public Enterprises and the President. And I don't even want this time around to even speak about the Minister. The President has a full responsibility to ensure, firstly, as a former Deputy President, he was entrusted with Eskom for a couple of months, or if not years. And now, as the President of the country, you can't have a 400+ billion rands debt entity managed by people who have never been at the executive level. That is critical. And Andile Nomlala himself, and I don't want to bemoan him today, he is completely out of sorts. He has proven beyond reasonable doubt that he's incompetent, is inadequate to the requirements, but we still not even listen to the President. The President should be addressing the Eskom problem as he does with the meetings that he have of COVID. This is a catastrophe that is destroying and killing people from poverty and hunger, worse than any other disease, including COVID. Black people are dying, Kathy, and government doesn't show any signs of seriousness with Eskom. By now, we would have long recruited and amassed the necessary skills around the world. You can't tell me that Eskom's problem can never be dissected and directly dealt with by top-class professionals around the world that can help us at least to live above the line. I'm sitting on the dark as every minute you're speaking now, I'm disappearing purely because South African government and the people that are entrusted with Eskom are not serious about solving this problem. We've long cried about the inadequacy of the skills that you find at Eskom, particularly at the top, which is the CEO.
But what happens now then, Andile? What do you, as the Black Management Forum, do going forward?
I can tell you in no uncertain terms, Kathy, I would reach out to some of the people that I'm able to contact that are directly linked to the President. I know that the President has said several times that, even to us, that he doesn't want to do what has been done in the past, where he directly interacts with the state-owned enterprises, because it can be construed as something that is interfering, and to some extent we know what happened with the state capture. But we can no longer have him at arm's length. His minister is completely not in touch, and his entity called Eskom is completely out of sorts. As the BMF, we have to convene, and we can reach out through our professional network to talented people in the country. There's top-class engineers that you could find within our country, but we can reach out through our professional networks to other top-class professionals around the world. And if government can't do that, we must do that, and we must rally the private sector to finance and fund those professionals that will be able to be brought to Eskom, so that we don't rely on the budget of Eskom. And I can tell you, every private sector company would contribute because they are heavily affected. If we are now on a catastrophic lockdown, Kathy, whilst we are on a catastrophic load shedding, whilst we are still in lockdown, Sentin and other CPD offices are not back on, and yet we are down, dead and finished, and no one seems to care.
All right, Andile, I certainly hope you have a torch to help you find your way back to the door of your house. You're completely in the dark now. Andile Nomlala, he's the president of the Black Management Forum there for us.